Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox and I'd like to welcome you to episode 161 of the FCPA Compliance and Ethics Report. Today I visit again with Gini Dietrich, the CEO of Dietrich and Spin Sucks, about a new exciting service option she's bringing, which I thought would have a lot of application for compliance practitioners. She's created a Masterclass and she's on her subject matter of PR, but I thought it would be something that you might want to consider for your own compliance program. The episode comes in at just over 18 minutes. This episode is sponsored by Advanced Compliance Solutions, and I would also encourage you, if you have a question about any compliance-related issues, send me an email because I'm going to start a mailbag issue. So once again, if you have any questions, shoot me an email and you may be on an episode, or your question may be on an episode in the future. I hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you very much. Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox and welcome to this episode of the FCPA Compliance and Ethics Report. Today I am very thrilled to have back one of my favorite people in the entire world, Miss Personality Plus, Gini Dietrich, the CEO of Dietrich and the company with the greatest name in the history of the world ever, Spin Sucks. So with that, Gini, welcome.
Thank you. I think that since the last time we recorded, we've actually met in person.
We have. So that was very thrilling, and it was at a conference that I think we both thoroughly enjoyed, Social Media Marketing World 2015. I certainly learned quite a bit about the business side of social media and was able to hear your talk as well. So that was extremely helpful, and one of the things I'm striving to do is bring the concepts of social media to the corporate world, and particularly my world in the compliance space, as yet another tool to help communication. And along those lines, since Social Media World 2015, you have announced what I think is just a great new service offering from Dietrich and Spin Sucks. So I asked you if you could take some time from your schedule to tell us about it. So with that rather long-winded introduction, please do so.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned Social Media Marketing World because I came back from that, and I think I was back on Friday night, which you got stuck. So I was grateful that I left on Friday instead of Saturday because you were fogged in, so you didn't get home until later. But I got home on Friday night, and on Saturday morning I was invited by a friend to come to his mastermind group for lunch just to meet some of the people that are in his mastermind group, some of the people that have helped him grow his business from an affiliate perspective, and talk a little bit about my business and what we're doing and all those kinds of things. I went into that expecting, just to have an hour with the group and, talk about communications and those kinds of things. And what I came away with, combined with what I learned at Social Media Marketing World, and what I was thinking about and some of the things that you and I talked about while we were there, and combined with meeting with these people, is there has to be a way to monetize the intellectual property. And not just from the perspective of course, there's the service side of the business, and, I have employees who work with clients and execute and do technical work and all that kind of stuff. But how can we monetize what's in my brain and take some of the stuff that we're doing on Spin Sucks and going even deeper so that people are paying for that. And what we launched with about 3 weeks ago is a coaching program. It's $2,000 a month. We decided to start there and just see if that was, a good price point or if it was too high or too low. So actually we've discovered it's pretty right on. People had to apply. And then I interviewed, through the application process, we weeded some people out, and then I interviewed everybody who I thought would be a good candidate, and we've ended up with 5 people in the group. My goal was 10, but there were some people who applied that weren't quite ready from a business perspective. It's also really interesting that I thought it was going to be a group that taught deeper communications, how to measure results and how to use traditional PR with online PR. So I thought it'd be more of that. And what I've discovered is that everybody in the group wants my help building their businesses. because I've done it and I'm doing it and I'm in the middle of it and all those kinds of things. So it's a group of business owners who either own PR firms or own startups, and we're all working together to grow businesses. So it's not exactly what I thought it would be, but it's turned out to be something really great.
Gini, when you initially announced it, one of the things that intrigued me was there were several components to it. One was you did identify the coaching component, but another was that the group could meet virtually on some regular basis and have an exchange of ideas. And then there was a third component where there would be an annual meeting at some point in the future. So could you speak about how each one of those, the individual, the group, and then the group in-person meeting kind of fits into your overall strategy on communications?
Well, there's, as you well know, video does a nice job of working when you're not together. So we do every other Friday, we do Google Hangout. So we all get to see each other's faces and sort of build that relationship and that trust via video. And then in between those, everybody in the group has homework, which is fun. I get to assign homework and I don't have to do it, which is awesome. And they, as they're going through it, there's a private group where we all have, brainstorm and ask questions. And, in the beginning, I was leading a lot of that conversation, and now I'm discovering that people are supporting one another and brainstorming and answering questions for one another, which is amazing from a community perspective. And when you're using social to build a business, that's exactly what you want to have happen. And then probably in October, before it gets too cold, we'll do an event here in Chicago in person, so that everybody can take that, the relationships that they've built via the written word and via video and sort of solidify that in a concrete way by meeting in person for 2 days.
As you've described that, I see that in my world and even in the broader corporate world as a very fabulous strategy for a corporation who wants to bring together a group of professionals for more intensive training in one particular area, a variety of areas, allow them to meet each other and develop those relationships that would help foster greater cooperation, corporate cooperation going forward. And then once again, having at some point meeting in person where they can more fully exchange those ideas over a day or two. So that model seems to be translatable across a wide variety of categories.
I think so. And when you have, you have that expertise and the opportunity to share best practices and things like that, it works really well. You see it sort of but you see it in offline models. Like there's through the PR trade organization, there's a subgroup called Counselors Academy, and it's all PR firm owners. So you have to own a PR firm in order to be a member of this group. And there's the online stuff, the listserv, and there's a private Facebook group and all those kinds of things where you're building relationships throughout the year. And then in May, the beginning of May, there's a 4-day conference where you all get together, and it's no more than 200 people because, of course, there aren't a gazillion PR firm owners, so it's a small group of people. And I remember the first year I went, it was really interesting in that you're there with your competitors, but the camaraderie that you build and the trust that you build, it ends up being that they become friends. And so you can share best practices and you can find ways to work together. And if an employee wants to move from Phoenix to Chicago, Abby Fink can call me and say, hey, I have this really great employee. I hate to lose him, but he wants to move to Chicago. Would you be interested in interviewing him? So you have that camaraderie. I call them competimates, so that you have, it's, competitor and friend. But you have that ability to do all of those kinds of things as an industry and push it forward. And I think that absolutely, to your point, translates across any industry.
One of the things I've done here in Houston is found what I've called a compliance roundtable, and it's designed to bring together some of the concepts that you have talked about. And the one promise I make people, although we do meet in person quarterly, the promise I make them is whatever is said there stays there. They won't read about it in a blog.
Yep.
They won't, obviously, they won't talk about trade secrets or anything confidential to their corporations yet. In the compliance world, there are really no trade secrets. The concepts are pretty well known and pretty simple, or straightforward, I should say. And so it's really fostered a lot of conversations that have allowed each other to help both in personal and professional growth.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So now you take that concept and create an opportunity to do it virtually. So you're still meeting in person quarterly, or if you're doing it outside of Houston, maybe you meet annually. And then you're doing, the virtual stuff where you are meeting every 2 weeks, or you're meeting once a month, but it's all done via video, so that you have that opportunity to still build the trust and still get what you're getting in those quarterly meetings, but having it more consistent.
Let me go back to something you said at the start of our conversation, because it's one of the things that I've wanted to explore with you, which is I've known you, I think, at least virtually since probably 2009 or 2010. And I saw when I was initially met you, I would say exposed to you, but I haven't exposed myself to you yet, nor vice versa. This is a PG-rated podcast, so that's as far as we'll go. But you were really focused on PR and helping,
right.
And then from there, helping people with their communications. Yet over the past couple of years, I've seen you take those skills and those talents and really move to something that you identified, which is helping businesses create new products, create new services, and grow businesses, help businesses market. And then when we started this podcast, you talked about you and Armin Dietrich finding a way to monetize that knowledge that you've gained through sharing via services. So this evolution that I've seen you go through, have you seen that in yourself, or has that been kind of a natural evolution, or is it something that you really didn't expect? You had the door open and you walked through it.
Yeah, I didn't really expect it, but the door certainly opened. And, the door actually opened in 2011, and I don't think I was quite ready to walk through it. And then when I was, I've certainly been in the back of my mind for all these years, and how do we do this? And, life changes and things happen, and I've written 2 books, and I've done the whole speaking/book tour, and it's exhausting. I don't want to be away from home that much anymore. So I'm trying to shift the business so that I can, still grow and still do the things that I love to do, but not necessarily have to get on a plane to do it.
Well, it's been really fascinating for me to watch this at a distance, and now a little bit closer, and see that you are actually moving to a commercial model of helping people like me or others build or create a new business model, particularly through social media.
Well, the opportunity you have is phenomenal. And so, anybody who doesn't take advantage of social and the web in general to grow a business and, to your point, create new products and services and innovate, I think is losing out, because there's huge opportunity, huge.
And one of the things that I've sort of figured out by studying this space and studying the business side of it, in addition to the tools that are available to marketers such as you and me to get our messages and our thoughts and our thought leadership out to a wider audience, the audience out there is just burgeoning, and people want this information. And because of iTunes, because of podcasts, because of blogs, because of a wide variety of tools that are available to us, media tools, people are just, they can't get enough of this.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be done well. We also get sick of the spam and the crappy content and all that kind of stuff. But when it's done really well, we can't get enough. We just keep, a really good example of that is I just finished Bloodline on Netflix, which is their new, the Netflix featured series. And so I finished it last night. So then, of course, I go to the web and I start, when is season 2 coming and what do they expect and all this kind of stuff. And it's created this opportunity for us to consume content in all sorts of different ways. I never in a million years would have sat down and watched a whole series, even just like on Thursday nights, because I don't have that kind of time. But when I can consume it the way that it's convenient for me while I'm on the trainer, because it's too cold to ride outside, or while I'm in a hotel gym and I'm running on the treadmill, at 5:00 in the morning. So it allows me to consume content, and it's the same kind of, you've translated that across any business. You have the opportunity to create content that people want in your industry, and if you do it really well, they will find the time and they will engage with it, they will consume it, and they will share it.
The one piece of advice that I got when I founded my solo podcast, I'd done one with a partner previously, was we loved hearing you guys talk, Tom, but an hour and a half was just too long. We want 20 to 30 minutes because that's the time we work out. That's the time we're on the metro. That's the time we're on the helm. So cut it down to that and make it in bites that we can digest in one sitting when we're not otherwise occupied, and we will listen.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, do it exactly in the amount of time that people are commuting. So if they're commuting by car, they're likely listening. If they're commuting by train, they may be reading. So also bringing in the different kinds of, auditory, visual, and video and text so that you're hitting every person in a way that's convenient for them.
One of the frustrations I've had in my compliance space for corporate clients is a complete dearth of use of modern social media tools. And I was very pleased to see that there were two corporations, Ford and now the second one escapes me, who are actually utilizing Twitter and social media in their compliance communications efforts with their employees. And they're finding that the employees like the instant feedback that they can get from a Twitter and from other social media tools. So maybe the corporate world will wake up and move into the 21st century. I'm hoping that because of people like you and me, maybe they will, and maybe people like my teenage daughter will actually drive innovation forward.
Yeah, it's funny. I speak a lot to groups of CEOs, and when I started speaking in 2010, it was, this is a fad, I don't have to worry about it, and then it went from it's a fad to, okay, so there might be something to it, but it's not going to hit my business until after I retire, so I don't have to worry about it. And now fast forward to today where everyone's thinking, oh my gosh, I really do have to figure out how to do this. But it's been an evolution of almost 6 years of watching business owners and business leaders go through all of these sort of emotions. And I'll tell you, I mean, there are still plenty that say, nah, don't have to worry about it. The millennials are certainly going to come into the workforce, but by the time they're making decisions about whether or not they're going to buy from us, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be off on a golf course somewhere. So there's still a little bit of that. But I think some of the more savvy business leaders are seeing that there's a huge opportunity here.
Well, and I would contrast that with some of the energy companies in Houston that send emails to their employees about new offerings on their Facebook page, yet their employees cannot get on the Facebook at the office because it's blocked. So I'm hoping that starts to change at some point, because I think there's a massive avenue to communicate with your own employee base about your values that they're missing.
Totally agree with that. That, it surprises me that still happens, but it's not unique.
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah. Fair.
Fair enough. So, Gini, this has been really enlightening. I thought I was going to be able to promote this Spin Sucks Pro program, but it sounds like you've been successful in getting the folks that you wanted in your first time around. So if anybody wanted some more information about when if the class might open up, or you might open up new opportunities, how would they find the Arment Dietrich website?
Actually, the best place is spinsucks.com.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're actually going to be launching something in July that's not $2,000 a month. It'll be a little bit less. So, yeah, spinsucks.com is where all that information will be.
Well, great. Well, I really wish you luck with it. I'm going to certainly watch and see how things go, but I think you've really struck on something, and I'm hoping that others will emulate you as usual in moving this into communications into the corporate world.
I hope so, too. Thank you.
Thanks very much, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
You bet. Thanks, Tom.